much harder did your job get?
Yeah, I mean, it brings new challenges, but also new opportunities, and just trying to, guys need to step up. We've obviously need to get a little bit more, creative in some different ways. What it looks like exactly, we're still trying to formulate and figure out. So, great opportunity for some guys. It's hard to, anytime you lose your two, guys that have obviously produced a lot for you. So that's a challenge, but it's a great op for some guys to get a new opportunity.
Have you had an experience like this at any point in your coaching career?
Yeah, well, I mean, in a different way, in 2022 in LA, we had 13 different starting offensive lines. Cooper goes down, a bunch of, we lose Allen Robinson. It was kind of a similar type situation, just with different people. And yeah, it's a challenge. It definitely presents, some more work for you as a staff and as other players having to step up. So yes, I've been through something like this. Probably not one quite like this though.
Does it help at all that you're doing this against the defense you just faced 3 weeks ago, or at least that part of it is familiar for you?
Yeah, I would say maybe so. It's still you have to go through the process of, okay, like we have to simplify for guys that are going to be playing that haven't been asked to play as much, while also, everybody's saying, you need to scheme them up and you need to do all these things. So it's a little bit of a challenge of, okay, we've got to keep it fairly simple for the guys that are playing in new roles and new positions for a lot more playing time, while also understanding that we've got to throw some different wrinkles at them because we did just play them, relatively, obviously, not long ago. So that's kind of the thing you're working through.
How much more important do the running backs become, not just from even running the ball, but different formations, utilizing them and in the passing game?
Yeah, that'll definitely, be something that we have to take a strong look at. We need our receivers to continue to develop. But yeah, I would say that's something we have to continue to look at as a staff. But, that's something that, takes time. Like it takes time to tell Rashad or Bucky or whomever to go line up at receiver and go line up over here and line up over there. That takes time to be able to do. So how much of that we'll see.
The slot position already has, Chris had 50-plus catches already on this season. Do you see that being filled by multiple people or more so one person?
Yeah, I think you fill it by playing in multiple personnel groupings, and whether it's some more 12, 21, 11, 13, whatever it is, you're trying to ultimately you're never going to match that production. Like that's just not realistic. But what is realistic is to get it in different ways of getting other guys touches, other guys stepping up, obviously within that F role in 11 personnel, while also maybe distributing it a little bit differently throughout different personnel groupings and different players.
And kind of to that effect, I know Rashad White, obviously he's a running back, but just I guess the ability to have him as kind of this positionless offensive player. We've seen him run routes. He's lined up in the slot. We've seen him line up wide. I guess just how much of an asset could that be in a scenario like this?
Yeah, that's something obviously we're looking at right now as a staff, and how much we can put on these guys, right? We're on a semi-short week, and, everybody would love for us to just line up in 21 pony 50 snaps of the game, but that's not realistic. So we need to be able to put as much on these players as we can without overloading them, because we can't have new players playing or put other guys in different positions that they haven't been playing and say, go play fast on a short week. That's not really realistic to do. So we are trying to find the balance between, okay, the Trey Palmer, Shep, J-Mac, Ryan Miller, Raheem Jarrett, whatever it is, those guys hopefully being able to play. They've been playing those positions a lot longer than Rashad's been playing slot. So how much of that will definitely determine what we do.
Are you going into it figuring that you will have Bucky, or that's up in the air?
That's
so
up
does
in the
that
air,
make
yeah.
more of a, you know,
A little bit. I think we feel good about, obviously, the balance and guys that we do have in the room to step up if he's not able to. I'll defer to Todd on that one in terms of his availability. But we're kind of having to prepare for multiple scenarios with who's in, who's out, what we have. Obviously, the key thing is trying to get those wideouts up to speed because, we play a little bit in 11 personnel. So that's what we're trying to do. And what other personnel groupings we're able to utilize will be determined on how many, who's available.
What do you need out of Baker Mayfield in all of this to keep this offense on track?
Just especially now is to really kind of go back to fundamentals and basics and reads and trusting. I don't think he really has an issue trusting people. He throws it. He's going to throw it to these guys. I don't think that's ever going to be an issue. But he doesn't have to do, anything more than what we're asking him to do. Stay within the scheme, stay within, play fast. And, we got to take care of the football, obviously.
We talked to Todd Bowles, and he talked a little about how you're going to have to kind of shift the offense away from the skill sets of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, guys like Jalen McMillan and Trey Palmer. Without going into too many of the game plan stuff, what does that kind of look like with those two receivers and the things that they bring to the table?
I think obviously Trey gives you a vertical, down the field threat that, hopefully we can try to utilize some. Atlanta plays primarily with deeper safeties at times, so not a lot of people have thrown the ball over their heads very often this year. So that's, something we need to look at, that balance between how much we're just sending him down the field and running him across the field when maybe they're doing by coverage structure a little bit more to cover that stuff. And then, this is a big moment for those guys in general, but, for Jalen to take the next step and really be called upon to win. These guys are all going to have to win one-on-one matchups. When it is man, they're going to have to be at the right spot at the right time when it is zone. And, it's a big op for these guys. So what that exactly looks like is really going to be determined on, how they play, like how they're playing in the game and what's getting open based on some of the coverage structures we're getting.
You have Jared as part of that equation?
I still don't really know yet. I think that he's still trying to work himself into it. And I'm not positive on that spot yet. He was taking some reps and trying to get him back in action. I haven't really talked to him about how he truly feels yet. I talked to him a little bit Monday night. He said he was still trying to get back into it and get his balance right and just kind of feeling the game out. So we'll see. If he is a part of it, then, he'll be definitely called upon as well.
When you look at the last game, the three running backs had 259 total yards. How satisfied were you with their play and the distribution of the ball between them all?
I think it was solid. It got to be a little bit of a weird game, obviously where we felt like we were controlling it, but then the turnovers obviously played a huge role, and then we crossed the 50, and then we don't convert on 3rd and 5, and we missed a field goal right there, and so we lost some possessions as we were going and some opportunities. I thought the guys ran hard. I thought they did a nice job in protection, caught the ball fairly well, obviously, and was proud to kind of see how they stepped up and all were kind of cheering for each other when they weren't in and when they were out there doing their job, doing a nice job.
You mentioned taking care of the football. Is there any kind of push-pull with a quarterback like Baker who is aggressive and wants to make plays and can make plays and may try to do too much with guys out?
Yeah, that's obviously, a conversation we've had with him has been, hey, we obviously cannot turn the ball over on the 2-yard line down there or 3-yard line, whatever it was. And then understanding 3rd and 13, where we're at in the field, how things were going. Hey, let's just check that ball down to Cade in the flats, play field position, punt it, and just kind of play the next play. So, yes, that's definitely something he's going to have to really internalize is – he's a playmaker, and he's done so many good things for our offense this year, and I don't want to take that away from him. But there is a fine line, especially when the guys that you've been trusted to throw the ball to in critical moments won't be out there. So making sure that we protect the team, protect the team with the ball and make sure we finish every drive with a kick.
You mentioned Cade, and he had, the 100 yards.
Yeah.
What did you learn about him in this game?
He's
And
tough, man.
without your receivers, how much more does he become an
Yeah, he's tough, man. I mean, he took some shots, took some real shots, and hung on to the football. And Cade's I've said this before, he's a pro's pro. I love being around Cade. He's super intentional, detailed, great dude. And you probably don't think that he's going to be as tough as he is when you just hang around him. He's tough as nails. And I was really proud of the way he competed on Monday night. And shoot, we're going to have to lean on him as we go. That's absolutely somebody we're going to need to depend on, and the quarterback trusts him.
With these receivers,
Yeah.
How much do they have to grow up in terms of like the talented guys, right? So opportunity, but they're not the big physical.
Right.
They're not Chris. They're not Mike. Just in terms of body size.
Yeah.
So you have to do it different because of who they are.
A little. I mean, and just a little bit with what we're asking them to do, maybe in the run game, and what some of the things we asked, Chris and even Mike. I mean, Mike was really blocking at a high level at times this year, and also, by the way, Mike dictates coverage, right? Like in the run game, and the screens, and you could almost formation things, know what you're going to get. Like the first touchdown the other night, we knew we would get cloud on that because it's Mike as the single receiver. So that's obviously different. And what we ask these receivers to do from the dirty work standpoint may have to be tweaked a little bit. And what we're asking them to do, ultimately, they're going to have to go and run the offense in a lot of ways as well. What we've been doing has been somewhat working, so we can't just abandon everything we've been doing because we've got different guys in there. But we also have to be smart about what we're asking them to do in terms of are they capable? That's what we have to ask ourselves.
With Mike going down, it seemed like Jalen got more targets and
Yeah.
opportunities against the Ravens. What did you see from him in
Yeah.
that? What did you learn about him? Is that connection with Baker improving?
I do think so. I think, had a really good conversation with Jalen. I think it was on Sunday, and just said, hey, this is the week. Like we talked about it. This is the week that you have to really kind of emerge, and I trust you. And I mean, look, the fourth down and 1, and we're giving him the ball on a jet sweep and trusting that he's going to make a play. He does. On a critical third down, he comes on an underneath route, catches the ball in traffic, makes a first down. And I do think that there's trust there. There is building chemistry that already had existed. We just lost some of those reps with him not being able to practice for those few weeks there. I do believe that there is a connection there. We've seen it. So it's just kind of, hey, emerging, building it, and doing it live in a game-like situation.
We talked a lot about the skill guys, but your offensive line has been playing really well. Or
Yeah.
you're going to be running the ball as well as you are. So how much do you lean on those big guys who are together and say, you got to be our rock?
Yeah, that's a big thing. I think those guys understand we've been moving in the right direction as a unit, as a group, and having a little bit more chemistry. And we have been playing physically. I thought we pass protected really well the other night. We did do some good things in the run game. They're coming along. I think they're gaining more and more confidence each week. I do know that those guys believe in being able to run the football. They do believe in, coming to the sideline and say, man, run it, keep running it. And that's great to hear as a coordinator. So I know that those guys will be ready to play, knowing kind of what we're dealing with.
Trust is so big in this game for quarterback and receivers, and there was some of that already built up between Sterling Shepard and Baker Mayfield. I want to say Sterling played like maybe 42% of the snaps, so he certainly stands to play more this week.
Right.
How can you kind of utilize some of that chemistry and trust between those two?
Yeah, just putting him in positions and routes. Like if you really look at a lot of Shep's routes that he maybe even hasn't been targeted on or been the primary on, he's won on quite a few routes, even dating back to the first Atlanta game. Yeah, he ran some really good routes that he just didn't get the ball on. That also happened the other night. He ran some really good routes. He just wasn't the primary or maybe secondary target on some things. Well, now he's going to be. So he'll probably just get naturally some more ops with the situation at hand. There's obviously a connection there. They're really close. They're friends. They go over the plays at night. They talk through things. So I do believe that those two will have fun on Sunday playing again together.
Along the offensive line, Cody Mauch has really settled in and looks to be getting better every
Yeah.
week. Behind the scenes, what kind of growth have you seen from him?
And Cody doesn't say much, so I don't get a lot of feedback from Cody, but that's sometimes a good thing because he's a pro. Like Cody, he does his job. He's been playing better. I completely agree with that. Confidence, I believe he's really gaining more confidence. I do think he's communicating at a high level when he is out on the grass. Off the field, though, I've just seen a guy really work at his craft, his hand placement, his punch, his anchor, the way that he plays the game, getting out of his stance quicker and having a little bit more pop and hand usage. You've seen him be diligent about these things in the walkthrough settings, in the practices that we've had, and it is showing up in the game days. So I've been pleased with Cody's play over the last few weeks especially.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.